Hello, Daniella. Okay, yeah. It's tough for somebody like you where your free time comes at the end of the week. What the heck is going on here? Very, very relevant comment. You're doing fantastic work. It is tough on those of you who find your free time towards the end of the week because our critique is up on Wednesday. So I get it, but I'll tell you what, thank you. This is a great start. I mean, immediately recognizable. So that's fantastic. Let's see what else we're talking here. Most time to work on a weekend. Still some more details I would like to refine. Yeah, okay, yeah, this is what I'm after right here. Clothing and nose. Yep, clothing and nose. Well, actually, I'll address all of these. So it's a great start. It is. Yes, it is. And I think I did even mention in my first critique when you submitted the photographs that it's a little bit difficult to transition from black and white to color photos. Now, if you want to do some experiments, well, how do I put this? It's okay if to use black and white images. I think it's compelling in color. I really do. If you want to transpose all of yours, since you're using all black and white images, if you want to try black and white, you're more than welcome. One of the things is it's really, really, really difficult to ascertain the tonal values associated with the different shadow and highlight areas in the face using black and white because you've only got shades of gray to work with, whereas here you have a lot more liberties. Um, it's just a little bit more difficult to depict good, solid shadow and highlight in black and white. But try it and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I love the color, so your choice. Okay, where do we go from here? A lot of areas still got to work a lot of details. So like the hard line is great. Your setup is great. Foundation is solid. We're ready to roll, right? So we want to get some things like this. You'll see that little shadow underneath the chin and that definitive shadow right there, the kind of roundness of the chin that showed right there. And you've got the general tonal distribution correct. So the left side of her face is, yes, darker than the right side of her face. You have that. Now we got to go in and start adding individual shadow areas under the eyes. This area right here, that curse, that little thing in the lip right there. I don't know what that's called. The shadow in the lip right there, right there. This image is lit from above. I don't know if that'll help, but it seems to me that the light source here is, there's definitely a light here. There's definitely a light here. There's probably another fill light over here. As a matter of fact, I'm sure there is. But so we see that highlight area there, and then these are all highlights, but these are definitely all shadows. Just be really, really careful. You don't want to overdo your shadows because we're going to start looking like a little zombie-esque, okay? But we want to depict this contrast in the eyes. This is really important in digital illustration, specifically if you're illustrating portrait. The contrast in the eyes sometimes, as an illustrator, I personally take a little bit of liberty and add a little more contrast to the eyes because I know that's exactly where the viewer is going to be looking. They're going to concentrate on this area. 90% of the time they're looking at this illustration, they're going to concentrate on this area right here. Consciously or subconsciously, that's just the way it is. Get some texture in the hair, which this doesn't really depict texture, this image, but what you want to do is take some liberties and start looking at some of the techniques that are required in some of your other portraits. So in other words, if your other portraits have a high depiction of contrast in the, of texture in the hair, you might take some liberties and start adding that kind of contrast here just for consistency in the series, right? Okay, other than that, I'd say we've got to start getting some of this movement in the clothing. This is going to really apply a lot of movement. It's the wrinkles in the clothing and the tonal distribution and tonal values of the clothing. So shadow highlight in the clothing. Hands need a little bit of work. This hand looks more developed than this hand, so but it's just a wonderful start. So I'm really digging the style you're approaching here, and so far so good. Just keep working it. Remember, we just want to be really easy. You want to show those shadows, but you want to show them in a subtle way so that they don't start looking like chunks of the face. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm trying to find out a way. I use the word zombie because that's the only thing I can think of. And sometimes when we see the depiction of the shadows being too dramatic, you want to be as subtle and show as much restraint as possible, but nonetheless indicate a difference between shadow and highlight, even that's noticeable when you zoom out. Okay, but be really subtle with that. All right. Well, I've been looking at this image here for 40 some years. I think this was 70 horses with 70. And I just want to say, I'm just finding, I've got kids myself, and I love it when today's generation listens to old music. I just think because it was great music. I mean, this was some of the best music ever. And I think a lot of young people really do them, especially music fans, just really do themselves a lot of justice by going back into the archives and listening to older music because it laid the foundation for everything. And personally, I think music back then, and I'm going to sound like an old dude right now, but I think music back then was much, much more interesting than music today. There, I said it. Anyways, Daniela, fantastic start. I love it. Really great job. Keep working it. Questions, comments, concerns, clarifications. You know the drill. I'm a click away. So let me know. All right. Great job. Thank you very much.